Well, my name is Robert Sawinski. I am running as an independent for U.S. House of Representatives in the 12th District in the state of Ohio. The reason I am running is because I feel that our parties are not representing us, the constituents, anymore. I believe that the Republicans and Democrats alike for the last 30 years have run a Republican or Democratic alike agenda and have not looked out for you and I. A good example of this is the recent bailout of the corporations and the banks that we have done. We have rewarded banks and corporations for bad behavior, and thus turn you and I, the tax-paying citizens, are left flipping the bill. That is one of the reasons that I am running for U.S. Congress.
What is the biggest problem that you have with the bailouts?
The bailouts are actually illegal and against the United States Constitution. It was never intended for our government, our federal government, to bail out any banks, any corporations, or own any corporations whatsoever. I know it happened in the 1970s when the government bailed out Chrysler, and it's happened again. But this time they broke all corporate laws in the process by thus turning around and not making the bondholders first priority, the people that actually owned the properties.
Right. Well, along with that theme, the government's talking about getting into healthcare, and the latest healthcare bill in the Senate right now would put the government into the healthcare business through a device called the public option. What is your opinion on this, and is it constitutional?
Well, there is. First off, we are supposed to maintain the general welfare of all human beings that are Americans and United States citizens. It is not the government's job to provide a universal health care. And a public option very simply means that taxpayers are going to have to flip the bill to have people that aren't on the system get on the system. It also penalizes the small businesses and the individual alike. Currently, we only have about 6% of Americans that are actually not eligible or don't have any form of health care that they cannot be entitled to. We're talking about 6% of Americans. And in order to do this, the government would take over total control of our entire lives, and it would run all insurance companies out of business as it stands currently. But foremost, it's against the United States Constitution. It was never intended that the government run health care.
What do you think about the claims that spend this $800+ billion bill is going to be, quote, deficit neutral?
I don't believe anything the government's ever said. I believe they're lying to us. It is all about what control they can take and what power they can take away from you and I. A deficit, there's only one program that the government has ever come up with that is actually making a profit, and that happens to be in the prescription care plan plus plan for Medicaid. That's the only thing. Everything else that they've estimated has been 10 to 15 times higher than their initial cost. Right now, we cannot afford to take on another $800 billion, in debt at this time in our country's history. We need to worry about our seniors and our current programs that we have and making sure they're sustainable for our seniors who have paid into these programs before we think about expanding and taking on new programs. Plus the vast amount of taxes that it will put on our society, we will be putting such a burden that our country wouldn't be able to recover from it.